You want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about sports in the state of Michigan? You've got the truth, all right. Can you handle the truth? Find out right now on the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, the show that detects and provides truth, research, and statistics about the Tigers, Lions, Red Wings, Pistons, Wolverines, and Spartans. Subscribe to its YouTube channel at the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast and listen to it in audio form wherever you get your podcasts. Follow it on X, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Michigan_Truth, and like its Facebook page, and follow it on Patreon at patreon.com/Michigan Sports Truth. Also, check out our website, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast.code ADX.me, and donate to the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast for Autism on GoFundMe, and know the truth. I'm Taylor Phillips, the hardest and most intelligent Michigan sports detective, and welcome to another episode of the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. This podcast consists of hard criticism, hard stories, interesting stats, and the reality about all sports teams in the state of Michigan whenever they pop up. If fans can't handle it, they will be doomed to know. What's not allowed on the show: touchy-feely comments, whining, conspiracies, unfunny comedy, overreactions, bullying, harassment, curse talk, naive arguments, and propaganda, because I take this very, very seriously. I talk seriously about our teams and I care. And this podcast is hosted by someone who has autism, which is me, and is not for entertainment purposes, but for educational purposes. The views or opinions expressed do not reflect the truth about our teams. So what I'm going to talk about is the Lions draft picks and undrafted free agents, the Pistons Magic first-round playoff series, Red Wings general manager Steve Yzerman's post-season press conference comments, and the Tigers on a weekly basis. So let's get down to them. I'm going to analyze the NFL draft picks, the Lions low-down NFL draft edition. So, wow, Brad Holmes was right on target with his draft picks. Let me tell you that. So at 17 overall in the first round pick of the 2026 NFL draft, the Lions select Blake Miller, offensive tackle from Clemson. So his stats: 54 games, 6'7", 314 pounds, just 22 years old. He's a much-needed offensive tackle, which can be very, very, very valuable help to Penei Sewell and the rest of the Lions offensive line. A good replacement for Taylor Decker, who was granted his requested release. So I want to go over some insights from NFL experts, expert analysts. For example, Dane Brugler of The Athletic, a four-year starter at Clemson, Miller was a mainstay at right tackle and former offensive coordinator Garrett Riley's balanced gap/zone scheme. Highly recruited out of the Cleveland area, he earned a starting job from day one at Clemson and was a model of consistency for a mostly inconsistent college offense, such as Clemson. He started all 54 games the past 4 seasons, most consecutive starts by a non-specialist in school history, and set the Clemson record for career offensive snaps played, 3,778 to be exact. Miller has a good mix of on-field talent and intangibles. In pass protection, he is quick off the ball with a range to mirror rushers up the arc and a surprisingly sturdy anchor to answer different types of rushers. Miller also shows his foot quickness and physical demeanor to move bodies in the run game. He isn't a great bender, but savvy NFL rushers will find some success using his aggressive techniques against him. His coaches rave about his smarts and football character, according to an NFL scout. Quote, I think he missed one practice in 4 years. The thought of letting down his coaches and teammates kills him, unquote. So that's the insight from Dane Brugler of The Athletic. NFL.com's Lance Zierlein writes, ultimate Iron Man at right tackle with 54 career starts. Miller has an unusual lateral quickness and fluidity in space despite playing too upright. His hands lack accuracy and command in both phases, but he can recover and make blocks with a finisher's mindset. Miller is rarely beaten by rush games, but he has edges attacked because of his hand issues. He will encounter difficulties at the next level without better pad level, core strength, and cleaner technique. If he tightens up in those areas, Miller can become a solid NFL right tackle. Todd McShay writes from The Ringer, quote, Miller is a powerful mauler with the strength to move defenders off the ball. He blocks through the echo of the whistle and has a finisher's mentality. He has an aggressive downfield blocker who overpowers defenders in space. At Clemson, he was a team captain and 3-time All-ACC right tackle who set a school record for consecutive starts by a non-specialist. Same stuff. He sets with a strong base, keeps cleats in the ground, and anchors well for the most part. He latches and locks out when he gets his hand inside. He doesn't cover enough ground with a second kick step, and he can be beaten by speed, especially when the opposing edge rushers or edge rushes from wide 9 alignment. His hand placement is erratic, which puts him in vulnerable positions. He's susceptible to having his hands swiped as he's beaten to the inside. So Lance Zierlein and Todd McShay are pointing out pros and cons, Dane Brugler as well. So he's good at pass protection, very quick at it. But rarely beaten by rush games. But he has edge attack because of his hand issues, which he'll need to work on, especially in the NFL level. Yeah, so he's quick off the ball, but his hand issues, he needs to work on. So there's a pro and a con at the very least. And then the Lions trade up to number 44 to address the defensive end / edge rusher position, drafting Michigan edge rusher Derek Moore. They traded overall picks 50 and 128 to the New York Jets for Derek Moore, the number 44 overall draft pick. And here's what what Brugler, McShay, and Zierlein had to say. Brugler first, quote, with Moore's size and traits, Moore has been gradually ascending over the past 4 seasons. As a pass rusher, he gains ground quickly out of his stance with a momentum and length to be effective, converting speed to power. He understands when to counter in his rush, but has some tightness turning the arc and needs to patch together a better overall rush plan. Aside from his power profile, he is unselfish as an edge, setting presence to keep the ball contained, although I'd like to see him be more of a playmaker in the run game. So yeah, very good pass rusher overall, just needs to work on playmaking more. That's what Brugler is saying. Todd McShay says Moore shares a lot of similarities with Seahawks edge Derek Hall, a former second-round selection. Both are power-based pass rushers with adequate height, but thick builds and long arms to help get into offensive linemen's pads and bull rush them back into the pocket. Like Hall, Moore grades out as a starting edge or as a player who will be used in a heavy rotation in a four-man front and should blossom into an impact player. Unquote. And then Lance Zierlein of NFL.com, edge prospect, quote, edge prospect with good size and length. Moore is far more active and engaged as a rusher than he is as a run defender. There's some particular information there. He has the ability to set firm edges, but his approach against the run can lack urgency. Against the pass, Moore is a bull rush aficionado, piling up pressures and sacks. He's strong through the top of the rush, but needs to prove he can consistently stress long, well-anchored tackles. When it's time to finish, he tackles with reliable technique and timing. If Moore cranks up the fire on all three downs, he can become a good full-time player. Either way, he projects as a starter capable of racking up pressures. So he's good against the pass game, just has trouble stopping the run. So he'll need to work on that as well. And they add another Wolverine to the Lions, linebacker Jimmy Rolder in the 4th round. Rolder figures to compete with Malcolm Rodriguez and Damone Clark for playing time as the third weak side linebacker, paired with starters Jack Campbell and Derek Barnes. Dane Brugler from the Athletic writes, given his relative lack of on-field experience, Rolder was a pleasant surprise on tape because of his awareness and movement skills. He plays with multi-gap range, legit sideline to sideline speed, and athletic upside in coverage. He isn't explosive as a thumper, but drops his firm pads into the ball carrier and rarely misses tackles. Just a 4.7% missed tackle rate in 2025. This is so impressive there. That is very, very valuable. Lance Zierlein of NFL.com. Rolder's instincts and run game consistency make it hard to believe he was only a one-year starter in college. He plays low and leveraged with violent hands to shock and slip off blocks. He finds the best routes to run the gap or to the run gap and maneuvers around traffic with efficiency to tighten angles to the ball carrier. He plays with good awareness and change of direction in space, but has average pursuit speed and coverage talent. Few linebackers in this draft finish tackles with the technique and consistency he displays. If you trust the tape and ignore his lack of experience, Rolder profiles as a future starting inside linebacker. Unquote. And then Todd McShay from The Ringer writes, there's a lot to like about what Rolder could develop into at the next level. He can play Mike, Will, or Sam in a 4-3 scheme. He's instinctive, but his discipline isn't quite there, so he might need a year as a special teams maven where his awesome skill set, mentality, and tackling skills will stand out, and some rotational sub package work before he's before he's ready to compete for a starting job in the NFL. But he's a future starter if he continues to track like he did throughout 2025. So it'll be it'll take some. So it's it'll take mini camps and practices and other stuff like that. Organized team activities in the summer and preseason games before the coaching staff and Dan Campbell and others and general manager Brad Holmes to make final decisions for week 1 of the NFL 2026-2027 regular season. So that's Jimmy Rolder for you. Now on to our cornerback from Arizona State, Keith Abney, in the 5th round at number 157 overall. He expressed an openness to moving the slot during the scouting combine in February. I want to give Justin Rogers of the Detroit Football Network credit on this episode of the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. By the way, Dane Brugler from The Athletic writes about Abney, who was, quote, an undersized, feisty cover corner with athletic balance, core strength, and endurance cultivated over 10-plus years of high-level competitive inline skating as a kid. Highly alert in the zone, he has an outstanding read, react, twitch in his plan, and drive from depth. In man coverage, he is effective at turning and anticipating routes before undercutting them. His on-ball production reflects his talent, although the coverage penalties also reveal discipline that's a work in progress, just like Terrion Arnold. He plays with physicality, and missed tackles are rare on his tape. Unquote. And then Lance Zealand, NFL.com, writes, quote, feisty boundary corner with a makeup to slide inside and become a problem for offenses as a pro nickelback. Abney's coverage IQ and competitiveness are loud on tape. He pairs impressive instincts and recognition with the ball skills of a receiver. He's physical in press, but he loses ground and picks up penalties when it hits the 3rd level. His top-end speed and closing quickness from depth are average. He's also average in mirroring a shifty release, so rookie reps inside could be a little bumpy. Abney profiles as a zone match nickelback with a physical press presence. And then Tom McShay writes from The Ringer, not much, but, quote, a good comparison for Abney is Upton Stout, a 2025 3rd-round pick who is coming off a promising season playing nickelback for the 49ers. Stout moved as a senior in college, but primarily played wide receiver prior to that. Abney and Stout have similar frames, length, speed, and competitive playing styles. So not much from Todd McShay. So just like Terrion Arnold and others, you got to cut back on penalties if you're Keith Abney. But his tackles in the secondary are very valuable, touchdown saving tackles, as a matter of fact, if you think about that. Just got to work on covering the receiver, trying to catch the ball. You got to play the ball and not the body, like I always say, very frequently, as a secondary receiving defender. And then, speaking of wide receivers, the Lions take Kentucky wide receiver Kendrick Law at 213 overall. Ran a brisk 4.45 second 40-yard dash and proved to be one of the draft's most explosive leapers, hitting 42 inches on his vertical. Man, 53 balls, After spending his first 3 collegiate seasons at Alabama, Law transferred to Kentucky for his senior campaign and caught 53 passes for 540 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns last season. Operating primarily out of the slot, nearly all of his yardage, 505 yards to be exact, came after the catch. Law also has some return experience on the resume, handling 31 kickoffs and 4 punts during his college career. So Dane Brugler from The Athletic writes, quote, Law is unimpressive on paper because of his college usage and underwhelming production. Well, I wouldn't judge him on just college usage. Dane, thank you very much. But the tape and testing have NFL evaluators believing there is more to his game. He is lightning quick in short areas and can destroy the balance of open field defenders with speed to stretch. He is dynamic on slants and stick and nods, although his routes show more freelancing than nuance, and he is unproven as a downfield target, unquote. Lance Zierlein of NFL.com writes, quote, Alabama transfer with a compact build whose primary function at Kentucky was to add yards after the catch on quick throws near the line of scrimmage. Law ran a limited route tree with most of his 2025 targets thrown behind the line. Tight hips, dull downfield route breaks, and he rarely runs routes at his true speed. He has strong hands to make contested grabs and breaks tackles on a regular basis with the ball in hand. So there's a couple positive attributes right there, a couple more positive attributes. Law's special teams background at Alabama helps, but might not be enough for him to stick on a roster. Nothing from Todd McShay, but really, he might be a fit for their practice squad at least. Kendrick Law, the Lions. And then they get a defensive tackle from Texas Tech, Skylar Gill-Howard, in the 6th round at 205 overall. He was limited to 6 games because of an ankle injury, was Gill-Howard. Still in the limited action, he managed to tally 2.5 sacks on 12 quarterback pressures and an interception, which he returned 55 yards for a touchdown. Oof. That is impressive. He remains undersized, measuring in at 6'1", 280 pounds during the pre-draft process. He's an above average athlete, posting positive speed, explosion, and strength measurements relative to his position. He'll be added in Detroit to an interior rotation headed by Ali McNeil and 2025 first-round pick Tyleik Williams. Gill-Howard will likely compete for a reserve role with Mekhi Wingo, Tyler Lacey, Chris Smith, and Miles Adams. Dane Brugler from The Athletic writes, a 1-year start. Every prospect, he went from scout team linebacker at Northern Illinois to impact defensive tackle for the Red Raiders. A mid-season ankle injury robbed him of the second half of his final college season. Every prospect takes a different journey to the NFL's doorstep, and Gill-Howard is no exception. He made the transition to the defensive line without sacrificing his athleticism, which allows him to slice through gaps and work down the line of scrimmage. Though built with solid mass, he lacks ideal size and length for trench work, which often puts him at a disadvantage. His leadership capabilities won't go unnoticed by NFL coaches, however, unquote. And then Lance Zierlein of NFL.com writes, unquote, Gill-Howard is an is an undersized one-gapper using suddenness and leverage to elude the clinches of bigger players. He plays with a nonstop motor and palpable sense of urgency, creating wins off the snap against the run and pass. He gives blockers no reps off. His secondary effort and block counters keeps him in the play longer. Gill-Howard lacks functional size and length, which will make him both scheme and matchup dependent as a pro. He needs to major in disruption and chaos to find a long-term home as a rotational upfield tackle, unquote. So his size is not very great, but he plays with urgency, like Yzerman wrote, and he can counter blocks very well, especially with his secondary effort, and his leadership as well. So we'll see what the Lions have to give for him after watching him in mini camps and OTAs and whatnot. And then finally, closing out day 3, taking defensive lineman Tyree West of Tennessee, 6'2", 283 pounds, 75 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, and a career best 4.0 sacks last season. Dane Brugler writes, primarily an edge rusher in college, West has an odd body type, shorter stature with a heavy build and good arm length. He moves with snap off the ball and uses rapid, forceful hands to gain quick advantages. He needs to win fast because he will struggle to disengage, which also limits his impact plays in the run game. His natural leverage gives him a pad level advantage and hits like a ton of bricks, but lower body stiffness hinders his ability to break down in tight areas. Yeah, that I would let that heal. If I were Brad Holmes, he would often overthink things earlier in his career, according to an NFL scout, but his confidence developed over his senior year, which boosted his on-field impact. And you do have to have confidence. It is always key. Lance Zierlein, and finally, Lance Zierlein of NFL.com writes, West's snaps and start counts are unusually low for a draftable prospect. He has the bone thickness of an interior defender, but a chunk of his collegiate reps came at 5 technique and even front defensive end. He is a solid athlete with good quickness, but below average hand usage. Yeah, he is fast, but has trouble with his hands. He appears capable of sinking and anchoring, but will be tested against interior double teams on the next level. West's ability to pressure the pocket could earn him an opportunity at the next level, at the NFL level, him at quote unquote. So, of course, there's some pros and cons with the draft picks, and then we got the drafted free agents. Luke Altmaier, quarterback at Illinois, apparently a third stringer behind Jared Goff. Amaris Brown, defensive back from University of Nevada, Las Vegas, started at Kansas State. 4 interceptions from the slot. That's good. Eric Hunter, a linebacker from Morgan State. Elite measurables in the 40-yard dash, 14.0 tackles average for a loss, 102 tackles, 3 forced fumbles in 12 games last season. And also we got Aiden Kanayana, defensive lineman from California, the Golden Bears. 2.5 sacks, 101 tackles in 26 games, splitting his workload between A and B gap alignments, graded very, very highly as a run defender throughout his 6-year college career, according to Pro Football Focus. Miles Kitzelman, from a tight end from Tennessee, previously from Tennessee, firstly from Alabama. Good run blocker but one of the slowest tight ends in the class. Yeah, that's practice squad material, I would say. Anthony Lucas, edge rusher from USC. Formidable edge-setting run defender. There we go. That's a good, valuable perk. Eric O'Neill, edge rusher from Rutgers. Just 2.5 sacks in 12 games during his lone season at Rutgers. But before that, James Madison, 12.5 sacks. But his standout drill was the bench press, where he hoisted the bar 27 times. Got just 2 more, but I promise I'll be done. Melvin Priestley, offensive lineman from Illinois. Too many penalties, but only allowing 4 sacks. Priestley can play very physically, but could be asked to try guard at the next level. I'd say put him on the practice squad. And then Deshaun Rucker, cornerback from South Florida and Tennessee beforehand. He primarily played on the outside between stops at Tennessee and South Florida, and running a blazing 4.38 second 40-yard dash during the pre-draft process. So, anyone have any thoughts? I'll close these tabs right about now and then get to some of the comments. I got one right about here from Debt Fan Man 9899. I'll always believe the answer to why Miller over Freeling came down to Penei Sewell's presence or preference to move and play left tackle. If Penei simply wanted to stay at right tackle, we'd have Monroe. That's a good point. Thank you very much. So, anybody else have any comments? So, I'll check back on them later on. To the Pistons post-playoff edition, the Orlando Magic lead the Pistons 2-1 in the Eastern Conference quarterfinal round. So let's get to them, shall we? First off, starting with Game 1. Try to get to the box score. There we go. Cade Cunningham, 27 points, 8 of 23 shooting, 3 for 10 from 3, 9 assists. But the main concern is Jalen Duren, 3 for 10 in game. What is it? Hold on a minute. That's game 3. Sorry about that. I'm going to switch these around. So anyway, it's a road win for the Magic in game 1. Just 8 points by Jalen Duren and a -21. Like I said, Jalen Duren has been very concerning in this series. I'll show you game by game, but Cade Cunningham, 39 points, but the Pistons still lose. But just 2 Piston two Piston players in double figures. Tobias Harris, 17 points. But the bench just hasn't stepped up much. Kevin Herter, Isaiah Stewart, Karis LeVert, and Javonte Green, each with just 3 points. Not very many shots taken except for Danis Jenkins. 1 for 7, 1 for 6 from the line, 3 for 6, 1 for 6 from 3, 3 for 6 from the line. 6 points for Danis Jenkins. They need a lot of those players to step up. And they didn't in game 1. And defensively, man, their starters were terrible defensively, along with Danis Jenkins with a minus 11. Duncan Robinson, minus 14. Tobias Harris, minus 15. Asar Thompson, minus 5. Cade Cunningham, minus 1. Kevin Herter, plus 7. At least he stepped up defensively. And then in game 2, well, game 1, Magic took it 112 to 101. The Pistons took game 2, 98 to 83. The starters were a lot better in the plus-minus category, but the bench, oh, man, they were all minuses. So Cade Cunningham, 27 points. Jalen Duren, 11 points, but 4 of 10 from the field. 3 for 5 from the free throw line. 11 rebounds. Tobias Harris, 14 and 11 boards. Cade Cunningham, 16, 11 assists. Asar Thompson, 11 points and a plus 24. Isaiah Stewart was the only bench player in double figures with 10 points. But that's been it. Just all the starting 5 plus Isaiah Stewart stepping up. So the Magic have been showing an interior defense, granted, but the Pistons are just not making the adjustments that they need to make. They need to try something different. Try making different plays. And for another example, the Magic in game 3, winning at 113 to 105. Cade Cunningham, as I showed you, 27 points. Tobias Harris, 23. Asar Thompson, 17. Jalen Duren with just 8 points, 3 of 10. He was especially atrocious in the paint offensively. At least he shot 2 for 2 from the free throw line, but that's a very small matter. Duncan Robinson with 10. 3 for 8 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3. Just 1 for 1 from the free throw line. An and 1. And once again, the bench just hasn't stepped up offensively or defensively as well. Minus 6 for Isaiah Stewart. Minus 10 for Danis Jenkins. Granted, the Pistons came back to tie it at 104, but the Magic somehow pulled away again because the Pistons let the foot off the gas again. They need to play. They need to make adjustments and play 48-minute basketball. Starting with game 4, Monday at 8 on NBC and Peacock. And then game 5 shifts back to Little Caesars Arena at home on Wednesday with a time to be determined. That would, the television telecast, the type of telecast is to be determined as well. So, again, they need Jalen Duren to improve. They need Cade Cunningham to keep scoring those double figures, but he's careless. But I've noticed he's careless with the ball again, turning the ball over. How many turnovers did Cade Cunningham make? 9 turnovers. Wow. you've got to be careful with that basketball. You really do. So that's one of the things that that needs improvement. So with that being said, Pistons have a lot of adjustments to make, a lot of work to do, and they need to play 48-minute basketball. So Ditman asks, do you believe this playoff performance of Jalen Duren will affect his contract negotiations this offseason? If so, what a financially brutal performance for Jalen so far. That is a good question, Dit Fan Man. Thank you very much. And yeah, absolutely. So Duren really has to score more points and be better at the paint. Otherwise, they'll have to make a different adjustment with him, and he's got to earn that contract negotiation. He's got to earn that contract extension. He really does. I am not kidding around. That is an on-target question right there. Thank you very much. So with that being said, we go to another edition of As the Wing Wheel Turns. It's the off-season edition with Red Wings general manager Steve Yzerman and his post-season press conference comments being very disappointed that we need better players. We need to improve specifically in certain areas, including defense. We can talk about goal scoring. 5-on-5, yes, if you're watching the playoffs. That's the one thing that we need to talk about. Better players, yeah. How is he going to get better players when they're stuck with Rasmussen and Sherratt, for example? They suck, but Yzerman signed Sherratt to a 3-year extension. Also taken into consideration, like I pointed out a few times already, they need to build a better team culture. They really do. Better players and a better team culture. This is no joke, folks. It really isn't. So that's all you need to know on this off-season edition of As the Winged Wheel Turns. Now the Tigers Tribune Weekly Edition. The Tigers take 2 of 3 from the Milwaukee Brewers at Comerica Park and salvage a 3-game series finale with the Cincinnati Reds at the Great American Ballpark. So, the 5-2 win. First, let's take a look at that. Spencer Torkelson has been hitting quite a few home runs as of late. 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. The Tigers start Jake Rogers 2 games in a row. I remember correctly. Jahmai Jones. Kerry Carpenter has been slowly but surely improving. Kevin McGonigal is being Kevin McGonigal. We all know that. Colt Keith continuing to do his thing. Kerry Carpenter, another home run, like I said before. That was after the 12-4 route loss to those Brewers. Take a look at the pitching stat. Pitching. Kiter Montero, 3 runs, 5 hits, 5 2/3 innings, 1 walk. Just 1 walk at least, 3 strikeouts, but he needs to stop giving up runs. He really does. He got towards it. So is this bullpen. especially considering the Tigers' offense is not consistently great. And the 5-4 win, Tarek Skubal blew that 3-1 lead, and then Tyler Holton helped him and the Tigers fall behind. But Jahmai Jones tied it up in the 8th with a home run, and then Spencer Torkelson. Wow, what can we say? A walk-off home run, a game-winning home run in the 9th inning. Wow, you just never know when or if these things are going to pop up for your team. Man, look at Wenzel Perez. Oh, man. Ugh. 057, 251 after Thursday's walk-off win. And then the Tigers lose a 9-8 slugfest to the Cincinnati Reds. Kenley Jansen suffers his first blown save of the season. Kerry Carpenter, a 3-run home run, and then Nathan Olo a game-winning 2-run home run, handing Jansen his second blown save, rather. Jansen, a 3.68 ERA, which is actually not that terrible. But Drew Anderson, a 7.30 ERA after allowing 0 runs, 0 hits, 0 walks in an inning, 2 strikeouts. That's actually a good performance, but by Anderson on Friday night. But Will Vest got torched. Kyle Finnegan, 4 strikeouts, just one earned run on 2 hits. 0.71 ERA in an inning and 2/3. Pitched an inning and 2/3 that game. Brant Herter, just 1/3 of an inning, an unearned run on a hit and a strikeout. That's it. But not good pitching overall. And then this ugly 9-2 loss right here. If you're watching in video form, Saturday they lost 9-2. Jack Flaherty just keeps getting torched. 6 earned runs, 5 hits, 2 innings pitched. And his ERA is 5.33. Flaherty is not that good. Flaherty is terrible. Just 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, but 3 home runs given up. Wow. The Tigers are taking on a well-coached Cincinnati Reds team, well-managed Cincinnati Reds team, who improved to 18-9 with that win. Kevin McGonigal on the bright side, 3 for 5. Wow. Wenzel Perez, 2 for 4, which is good, if not just decent. And then the Tigers salvaged one 8-3 earlier today. Kaiser Montero started that game, but gave up all 3 runs, but 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, 2 home runs. His ERA is 400. That's still, in my opinion, not good enough. But the offense really bailed him out. Brant Herter got the win. Pitched a perfect 6th inning. Will Vest pitched a perfect 7th. Got a hold. His 4th hole of the year. No walks, no hits, no runs, no nothing. Just 1 strikeout. He lowered his ERA to 6.17. Kyle Finnegan doing Kyle Finnegan things. Just 1 hit, no runs, no walks, a strikeout in 1 inning pitch. And then Brennan Hanafy, who was called up for Connor Siebold's tightness injury. Hanafy, just 1 hit and nothing else. That's it. ERA is triple zeros, all donuts. So the Tigers improved to 15-14. The Reds still 18-10. That's a damn good record. So the Tigers, as we check on the MLB.com standings, I think. Yeah. The Tigers are tied with the Guardians at 15-14 record-wise for first place, but the Guardians somehow hold that tiebreaker for the American League Central Division. I don't know how, but the Tigers have a plus 10 run differential. The Guardians have a minus 8 run differential. But I think the Tigers different. I think the reason why the Tigers are in second place in the AL Central Division officially is that they're 5-12 on the road, while the Guardians are 7-9 on the road, which is a better record than the Tigers, better road record than the Tigers. So with that said, the Tigers head to Atlanta at Truist Park and play the 20-9 Braves. Wowzers. For a 3-game series starting Tuesday at 7:15. Then the matinee game on Thursday at 12:15. Then they head home for a 6-game homestand with the Texas Rangers and the Boston Red Sox from May 1st through 6th. Then they go on the road again for 6 games against the Royals and the Mets before they head home to for a 7-game homestand with the Blue Jays and a 3-game series with the Blue Jays and the 4-game series against the Guardians. All those games at home, and so on and so forth. Then they go to Baltimore and take on the Orioles, and so on and so forth. So just 3 more comments here. Maybe I just didn't hear you, but 5 home runs in 5 days for Torque. Yes, tying a franchise record allegedly. Look for a magic record-setting 6 on Tuesday in Atlanta. Well, we'll see what happens. And then I think it's the in-division record where Detroit lost 4 games to Minnesota. Yes, that's another good point as to why the Tigers are in second place. Cleveland has a better division record, I believe, is the tiebreaker. Yes, exactly. The division records are always the factor. It just doesn't show in the MLB.com regular season standings. I'm not, expanded. There we go. Let's try that. East, Central, West. Yeah, the Tigers are 3-4 in the AL Central against the AL Central. The Guardians are just 2-1. So, with that being said, that is another weekly edition of the Tigers Tribune. So, what did we learn? The Lions addressed their position player needs at the NFL draft, except there are pros and cons that they need to work on. The Pistons need to make adjustments. Cade Cunningham has to stop turning the ball over. Jalen Duren needs to score more points and be more consistent in the paint. They need to change things up, and they need more players to step up, especially off the bench. And the Red Wings need a better team culture along with better players. And the Tigers are just not consistent. They're just not good enough right now to contend for a World Series. So that's what we've learned in this episode of the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. I'm Taylor Phillips. Subscribe to its YouTube channel at the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. Like its videos and turn on all notifications on the bell icon. Click or tap on live to find its latest full episodes and check out its shorts videos. Also watch it live on and follow it on Twitch at Michigan Sports Truth. Listen to it in audio form on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music /Audible, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, and Gio7. Also join its supporters club on Spreaker, just $2 a month. On social media, follow the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast on X, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Michigan_Truth, and on Reddit at u/Michigan_Truth. Also like its Facebook page, facebook.com/Michigan Sports Truth, and on Patreon, patreon.com/Michigan Sports Truth. The podcast website, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, code ADX.me. And finally, donate to the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast for Autism on GoFundMe. The goal is $2,400. Until the next episode, stay on the lookout and just understand that I observe and detect the truth about sports in the state of Michigan only for fans' own good and education, because the Michigan Sports Truth is out there. Ta-ta for now. Hit 'em with a hind. Pound of the people. Baba Booey to y'all.
High-speed internet service provided by Cherry Capital Communications in Elk Rapids. Visual wardrobe prompts provided by Creative Embroidery of Cadillac. Statewide business endorsements go to Fox Motors, Great Lakes Art, Michigan Rustic Properties, Grand Traverse Pie Company, J&H Family Stores, Positive Chimney and Fireplace, Farm Bureau Insurance, Michigan's Adventure, Alpine Chocolate House in Manistee, Boyne City, Gaylord, Plymouth, and Sault Ste. Marie, Hudsonville Ice Cream, Grandpa's Mini Donuts, Rally House Michigan and Rally House Detroit, Tom's Food Markets, Beacon and Bridge, Fago Soda, Detroit Wing Company, Simply Delightful, JR's All-Star Haircuts for Men, Tropical Touch Spa, Main Street Rocks, G's Pizzeria, Wesco, 7 Brew Coffee, Gardner White Furniture, and BC Pizza. Metro Detroit area business endorsements go to the Annex Detroit Nightclub and its Annex Angels, Vibes Southfield, ANS Detailing in Troy, State Fair Supermarket in Ferndale, Stepping Stone Wellness Center in Plymouth, Place Sports Club Detroit, Buscemi's Party Shop in Waterford Township, the Vanguard Hotel in Ann Arbor, Realtors Kevin S. Bentley and Lindsay Gorman, Sean O'Callaghan's Public House in Plymouth, Gino Surf, Avenue American Bistro, Mochi Nut Donut and Boba, Osprey Detroit, Peak Exterior Care, the Edo Ramen House in Southfield, the Great Lakes Crossing Mall in Auburn Hills, Empire of Detroit, Modern 7 Bistro, Northville Sports Den, the Union Barber Shop in Birmingham and Ferndale, United Mobile Power Wash and Dry Ice Works in Southfield, Frothy Girl in Ortonville, Spot Truck in Dearborn and Detroit, Athletico Physical Therapy on Woodward Street in Ferndale, Detroit Pizza Company, The Blind Owl in Royal Oak, Brass Rail Detroit. Cali Tickets, call 877-225-8425 or visit CaliTickets.com. Reliance Pressure Washing, The Jagged Fork, Goodman Acker PC, Northwestern Technological Institute, Green Lantern Pizza, the Pins Bowling Center in South Lyon, Impact North in Ortonville, Vitamin Shop in Auburn Hills, Legacy Family Dental Center in Dearborn, 350 Terrace, and Hodges Subaru. Local business endorsements go to Cherry Capital Communications in Elk Rapids, Morris Richardson Real Estate in West Branch, Little Dipper Cottage Northport, K&L Creations in Manton, Upriver Pizza in Benzonia, Glen Arbor Construction, Freshwater Auto Spa in Kalkaska, Kingsley Lumber, Boyne Golf, The Outsider in Manistee, the Silver Dollar Pub and Grill in Roscommon, Toy Town of Cadillac and Reed City, the Landing Zone in Gaylord, the VI Grill in Suttons Bay, West Michigan Massage Therapist Emmeline. Visit zenweb.com, the B4 Foundation in Ithaca, Wexford Community Credit Union in Cadillac and Lake City, Jay's Sporting Goods in Gaylord and Clare, the Front Porch in Suttons Bay, Trout Town Tavern and Eatery in Kalkaska, the El Cilantro Taco Shop in Petoskey, Bay Mills Resort and Casino in Brinley, Fuel Up Nutrition in Clare, JNS Hamburg in Traverse City and Kingsley, United Food Service Solutions in Grand Ledge, Friendly Foodies in Alpena, the Asian Buffet in Cadillac and Traverse City, Luddington Meat Company, McBain Hardware, Vandry Home Furnishings in Cadillac, Houghton Lake, Big Rapids, and Traverse City, Pearl's New Orleans Kitchen in Elk Rapids, Rogers Food Center in Lake City, Everett, and Reed City, Herman Hiss and Company in Bay City, Fletcher's Pub and Texas Corners in Kalamazoo, the Michigan Theater of Jackson, Hooters in Saginaw, Anna's House in Grand Rapids, Coffee Beanery in Flushing, Merritt Speedway, Northport Pub and Grill, Northern Logistics, and Spicer's Boat City in Houghton Lake. Traverse City business endorsements go to Honest Eyes Optical, Highland and Harbor, Northern Lakes Cleaning and Home Services, Suzek's Smoke Shack, Northern Trillium Company, Northwoods LG Barbecue, Downtown Vacation Rentals, Vautrubel Leather, Rovi Grill in Dearborn, Old Mission Culture Company, Archer Contracting, Intrepid Cycling, Moomer's Homemade Ice Cream, TC Man Cave, K1 Speed, Play It Again Sports, Erica Nita of Traverse City Real Estate, Yen Yoga and Fitness inside the Delamar Resort on Front Street, Firefly Kitchen and Bars, Traverse City Fun Running, Bergstrom's Burgers, Margarita's Grill, Wellbeing with Catherine Palms, Traverse City Comfort Advisor by Comfort Center, Bayview Flooring, North Coast Golf Shop, Dockside Market, Anna Very Fine Foods, and Team Bob's Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Cadillac business endorsements go to Cadillac Grill, Cadillac Nutrition, Cadillac Horizon Books, Creative Embroidery, Michigan Coffee Company, Shaley Bear Creations, Pro Quality Cleaners, Raven Social, Wildflower Bakery, Northern Star Event Rentals, Primo's Barbecue, Wexford Jewelers, Evolve Yoga and Fitness, Chunky Bear Coffee Roasters, The Truck Stop, Cadillac Lofts Apartments, Bigelow Supply, The Food Mafia's Let's Roll With It Rolled Ice Cream, Evergreen Resort with Curly's Bar and Grill, G's Tanning Salon, 5-star real estate agent Stacy Zirkle, The Pine Sports Bar and Bowling Center, Pizza Plus, Chico's Taco House, Baldwin Family Healthcare, Blue Heron Cafe, The House of Hunan, Wexford Senior Care Center, Max Swings Indoor Golf, Beaner's Pizza, Cabernet Peaks, Burke's Waterfront Restaurant, the Cadillac Party Lounge, and the Sweet Shop. Lake City business endorsements go to Cuts by Melanie, Lake City Log House, the Pearson Agency, the LC Tap House, Hutchinson Septic and Excavating, the Coffee Cup, It's a Denise Jewelry, To the Moon Bakery, Northern Auto Lab, Hammer's Pub and Grub, Shoreline Cafe, Rustic Hog Barbecue, Pancho Villa Mexican Grill, the AL Trading Post, and the Misaki Golf Club Golf Course.